Hi and welcome to the Intermediate and Advanced Introduction to Cue Bidding. So what we're going to be looking at today is the purpose of our cue bidding, basically what we can do with it, its limitations and a few key principles. So first of all, when we're using cue bidding, it's our way of saying to our partner, I know the opponents aren't taking two tricks in this suit. We're using cue bidding as our way of double checking on our way to slam that we're not missing two tricks in any one particular suit. So when we make a cue bid, it's showing our partner we either hold the ace, the king, a singleton, or a void. Let's take a look at some options. So we'll say, for instance, we had one heart pass and we had a 3-heart bid by the responder, and that could be whatever you play the 3-heart bid as, 10 to 12, or it might be something else. If our opener thought that they might have enough for slam, they could start a cue bidding auction, and the most important principle is that at any stage, once we've found a major suit fit, that suit must be trumps. We can't stop the bidding without that suit being trumps. It means that any bid of a new suit here by the opener would be as a cue bid looking for slam in the heart suit. And remember, it's that first or second round control. The other key part is that we start our cue bids and we bid them up the line. So what this means is that after the 3-heart bid, the first bid up the line was 3 spades. So opener's first obligation was to show their partner that they had a cue bid in the spade suit. If they didn't have a cue bid in spades, but they did have one in clubs, what they could do is they could bid 4 clubs. But the key part here is that once we skip over a suit, we're denying having a cue bid in that suit to our partner. So a bid of 4 clubs here would say to partner, I'm interested in slam and I don't have a cue bid in spades, but I do have a cue bid in clubs. Now a key part here is that once we know that we're missing a cue bid, so let's say the responder didn't have a cue bid in spades either, we want to sign off. So we know that we're going to be missing 2 tricks in that suit. So if responder didn't have a cue bid in spades either, we'd know that we're missing 2 tricks in that suit, and we definitely want to stop the bidding. This is one of the very basic principles of cue bidding and the most useful one. If we know that we don't have a cue bid in a suit, we want to get out and we want to stop in just a game contract. Now another thing that can be quite confusing is whether or not a bid is a cue bid or just simply a trial for game. And it all depends on what level that we're at. Now in this auction where it's gone 1 heart past 2 hearts, we're not committed to playing at the game level. What this means is that a bid of a new suit isn't actually a control bid. It might be a control bid, but it's not actually a control bid. It's used as a long suit trial as a way of investigating game. Now, if we changed the auction and it had gone 1 heart past 3 hearts, at this stage, if there's a new suit bid, we are committed to playing in at least a game contract. This means that it is a cue bid. So what happens if you've got a hand that wants to make a cue bid, but it's going to look like a long suit trial? For instance here, 1 spade past 2 spades. If our opener had a hand that was interested in slam, even opposite just 6 to 9 points, they can still start off with a bid that looks like a long suit trial. Now they still want to bid their cue bids up the line, but they started off and it looks like a long suit trial. And then what they do is they can make a decision based on what partner does. So if partner came back and bid 3 spades here, we'd know they didn't want to play game opposite our long suit trial. This would mean you could now reassess your hand. If you thought knowing that partner was basically a minimum and they didn't like that you had some values in diamonds, you could simply put the contract into 4 spades. And this would be your way of saying, I wanted to look for slam, but I don't think it's going to be there because you didn't even want to play game opposite my long suit trial. Now it has to be this reason, because if it was just a long suit trial and your partner had said they didn't want to play game opposite it, you would have just passed 3 spades. If you still think there's a chance of slam, you can still continue on with the cue bidding auction. For instance here, you could bid 4 hearts, and this would be your way of saying to your partner you still don't have a club cue bid, but it's basically all that you want from your partner to look for slam, because remember, we didn't bid 3 clubs here, so we've denied having a club cue bid. And because we've gone past 3 spades, this is what's now exposed that we were trying to make a cue bid rather than a long suit trial. This is a very rare situation that comes up, but it does occasionally come up. Now, the limitations of our cue bidding. Ideally, we would like to be able to have a cue bidding auction on every single auction that we go to slam. We'd love to be able to check out that we aren't missing 2 losers in any one suit. Sometimes though, you won't have the luxury of being able to do this. For instance, if we opened 1 spade and you might say play 4 diamonds as a splinter or some sort of raise, here our opener doesn't have the luxury of being able to find out if we have a cue bid in clubs or not, because we've gone past being able to cue bid clubs and still being able to stop in game. What it means is they've basically just got to give it a go and just hope that we will have a control bid in clubs. Now, they've got a couple of options. They could start to bid a new suit, or they could simply just jump into 4 no trumps and start looking that way. Now, there's also some times where we can tell that basically our auctions are what we call a mild slam try. So let's take a look at this one. Say 1 spade past 3 spades. Now let's say our opener now cue bid with 4 clubs and responder came back with a cue bid of 4 diamonds, continuing on the cue bidding conversation. We can have a couple of different inferences here. So let's say that our opening bidder bid 4 hearts. Now, why would they bid 4 hearts? They're keeping the cue bidding auction going, but if they had a heart cue bid, what they'd know is that we're not missing a cue bid in any suit. We've got a club bid, we've got a 4 diamond bid, so responder's got diamonds covered, and why would we need to bid our hearts here? We could simply launch into key card. What it would mean is that the opener, we know we've got all 3 suits covered, but they're not necessarily sure that they want to commit to slam. It's what we'd call a mild slam try. So what they'd have is basically some points that they think there might be a chance of 33, but they're not quite sure. So for instance, after 1 spade past 3 spades, if we pretend that that promised 10 to 12 points, it'd basically mean that our opening bidder might have, say, just 21, and that's total points, and be looking for slam, but only if the responder is at the maximum of their range. So this is a way that we can have a look at some mild slam contracts. Now take a look at our example hands and also complete the quiz for today's lesson, and we'll see you tomorrow for continuing our cue bidding conversation.